Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cozy Club. It is a beautiful day as always for some DSA, and we have ourselves the September tier list, guys. I know you guys have been waiting. We actually skipped our first month in August because of the T7.5 update. I wanted to get my hands on these characters. So much changed, so many new abilities and stat changes. So I wanted to play test them first. And in August, it just came so fast that I didn't really want to just put out a tier list for the sake of putting one out. So yes, this list is considering in-game, is looking at these characters at the best of their possible potential. I wanted it to do it that way because if you guys look at a character, I want you to know, is it safe investing them early on that you can use them all the way through your DSA journey. However, there's plenty of good characters in both mid-game, early game that we can definitely shout out. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see a mid-game best teams list. I know you guys see a lot of content for the late best teams in this channel, but if you guys want to see some great teams that you can put together in that mid-game level 40 through 60 range, would happy to put that out. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, before we get started, Cozy Club, we're going to be looking at this tier list at a macro level. We're not going to be talking about every single character within the game. However, if you want to look at a micro level and know exactly what makes each character great, feel free to join any of these social media handles right here. I've got a great Twitch channel that we've got an awesome community put together. We're on a few times a week, and my gosh, you're missing out if you're not joining the Twitch. Also, feel free to join the Discord and Twitter as well, guys. Links in those are in the description. So lastly, for those of you that are new, we're going to be ranking the characters from F tier all the way to S tier, which is going to be the best. And then within each of these letter grades, it's going to go from left to right. So the characters at the top left of this screen or furthest left are going to be the better characters within the tier, and the characters on the down bottom right are going to be the worst within their tier. So not only are they ranked in the letter, but they're also ranked within the tier. Also, guys, throughout this tier list, you're going to see a +1, +2, and even the word CC right next to some of these characters. And essentially, how we're looking at these characters is we're taking, in fact, all these game modes into play, as well as looking at them as a single-use character. A great example is Ian. He's a phenomenal character. However, he gets a lot better with Barley, so he's going to have a nice +1 next to him, and that is if you use him with the right team. So again, if you see a character in the C category with a +1 next to them or a +2, that means that they're going to be able to jump that many tiers when placed with the right team. So +1 in C would bring them to B, and so on, guys. I wanted to do this so that we look at the characters individually, but you can also see their max potential. All right, let's jump right in. We're going to start with the Baloo tier. Now, I know I talked about the F tier, but guys, Baloo is in a tier of his own. He's the worst character in the game. Let's move on to the F tier. These are the Disney rejects. These characters are less than stellar, and by less than stellar, I mean they are just not good, guys. Do not farm. Do not waste your time on resources for any of these lovely 5 characters. Jack Skellington has fallen to F. He got 0 T7.5 love. And then also, you've got Crunk and Yzma, who just can't seem to crack the F tier. Again, guys, these are not worth going after. Now, jumping on over to the D tier, these characters are a little bit better, but they don't have much use, and I still recommend staying away from them for the most part, especially if you don't have some of the higher tier characters geared up and ready to go. Now, the thing all these characters have in common is they're just not going to be the heavy weights within their own class. They don't do anything that jumps out on the page. Just to talk about a few of them, yes, Jesse did get a nice little touch-up with T7.5. Hopper does have a mass purge and can put harmful immunity out on the field. However, it's just kind of a one-trick pony job. Rafiki got a nice touch-up to his assist. He got some stat boost, and he can assist Simba, and I actually like what they did with Rafiki, but his stats are still going to keep him lower than the C tier. Frozone, as you know, is great with the Incredibles. He has a nice function within Club Conquest, but outside of that, he's just not going to quite fit the cut. And Pete did rise all the way to the top of D tier with a nice T7.5 update as well. He got some speed, and his heavy hitter ability can actually do some massive damage. So if you're looking for damage early game, Pete's not the worst choice, but he's definitely someone I would probably stay away from. All right, now moving right along to C tier. Now, C tier, they have a little bit of some shining spots. Some of these characters have something within their kit that is going to be useful in general on the battlefield. Again, they're not going to be jumping out as like, this is a great character. However, they have some shining spots and they have definitely made it here for a reason. Now, to look at a few of them, Woody is a great first example. Definitely rose up the charts. He was in D tier last July tier list, guys. The 7.5 update was very helpful to him. All of his abilities got a nice touch up, and I actually want to talk about the Toy Story gang in general. I think they're getting slept on, guys. Tinkerbell got a nice touch up and definitely belongs in the C tier now. She can give evasions and shields to her allies and can reduce turn meter and got the much needed plus 14 speed. Now, a lot of these characters that you're going to be looking at in this tier got so much speed with the new update, whereas the D and F tier characters, for the most part, got ignored. As y'all know, Randall did get a little bit of a nerf. Yes, he can be useful in some fear teams, but for the most part, this is where Randall belongs. Now, I know you guys are all looking at this tier list and looking at one character and one character only. He's right there in the dead middle, and that is the should-be king of the jungle, Scar. Guys, trust me, you're looking at a huge Scar fanboy, and I hope our boy gets some treatment sometime soon. Now, Scar, unfortunately, is the biggest faller within the tier list, guys. Unfortunately, he just does not quite cut it anymore, and he is the definition of getting pushed out of the higher tiers with what has come out between Oceanics, Tech, and now BH6. Guys, Scar doesn't do anything crazy unique. Yes, he can get under stealth, but again, so much AoEs are out there. His hyenas do not have enough attack or health. He can throw up some dust balls, but his kit has been dated, and he is definitely one of those characters that I want to see touched up with a rework. You can see we have Spin up there with a +3, and Cozy Club, I'm going to let you know that +3 is the most you'll see on this tier list. Spin is the definition of a character that is just kind of a C tier so-so character. However, when plugged with the Frozen crew, he definitely jumps up the ranks all the way to the top of A tier. So you've got a character going from C when used by himself, pair him up with Kristoff or some of the other Frozen characters, and you instantly have a very hard-hitting reindeer. Pocahontas is slow as molasses, did get a +14 speed buff, and she can do some things well as a support. I'm actually liking her kit more and more. However, she's not going to be jumping off the pages. Definitely one of those characters that I want to see a rework done as well. Guys, let me know down in the comments. Leave a comment. Do you want me to do the top characters that deserve a rework within DSA? That's something I definitely would love to do, and I want to see if that's something you guys would like to see. Now, looking at the last characters here, Oogie Boogie fits very nicely with the Fear Squad. He's going to be a heavy-hitting tank, got +14 to his speed stat, making him a lot faster in keeping up with the meta, and can do some high damage. Big Baby, you guys know he's probably locked into this spot for some time to come. Didn't get crazy love with the new update. He can stun. He does have eye offense. He just doesn't fit into much teams outside of that Toy Story villain. All right, now we're getting to the characters that we can actually use in battle somewhat effectively, Cozy Club. These characters that we're going to be going over, you can start going after a little bit more. They do have a lot of uses, and some of these are very good mid-game characters, especially when you're trying to get to that max in-game. Some of these guys are going to carry you along the way through live PvP and Sorcerer's Tournament. Yes, they kind of stop here. They hit their ceiling, but they have a great floor, but they hit their ceiling very fast as far as how good they can be in the long run. Let's start with Violet. She is a early big-time riser. As you guys can tell, she was way down there in the July tier list. She's risen up with the new update, has some great synergies with the Incredible, can call dash to assist. And now that hero got a nerf to his shield, Violet is filling in that shield role a little bit more. And yes, not a lot of people have her. In fact, I myself have not seen much T7 Violets out there, but with someone with a T6 Violet, there is some use out of her, and she definitely earned her spot with the Incredible squad now. Now, Anger is this character that just seems to stay in this B tier. However, he is climbing higher and higher among the ranks. He got a great ability addition to be able to purge all helpful effects. He has a 50% chance to do that. And guys, once T8 comes out, Anger is going to have a very unique move. He'll be able to purge shields completely. So you've got these oceanic walls that build mass Sully shields that you can double, triple Sully's health. However, you just use Anger's Purge ability, and it looks like that's going to take down his shield all the way. Can't wait to see what these characters look like at tier 8, but for now, we are quite comfortable at tier 7.5, and that is what we're going to be ranking these guys on. Speaking of Sully, Sully is climbing the charts more and more, guys. He got the much needed speed change of plus 14. He was a very slow tank that did some nice damage, but could not keep up with the rest of the tanks in the game. It is only a one-turn taunt, so I did put him just a notch below Mr. Incredible, but he can do some reliable damage, call people to assist, and all in all, fits in some teams quite nicely, both in Club Conquest and even live PvP. Jafar is one that I'm sure people are going to be shocked at. Yes, he is this low, and mainly because he is just falling out of viability, guys. If you don't get that charm out, he has a great 2-turn charm, great for mid-game, but once you get up to the higher tier levels, if they resist that 2-turn charm, Jafar is a sitting duck, and by the time he gets to go again, he's probably going to die. Did not get much love in the new update, so he did unfortunately move down this low. Let's go ahead and look at Buzz. Buzz and Ariel are both two characters that are great early and mid game, and they should be able to carry you pretty far along your journey. Once you start to unlock Frozen, of course, in a full kingdom, that's the squad you're going to want to move to. But Buzz is a very solid tune with lots of different uses. And then lastly, looking at the top of the B tier list, guys, Korra, Lotso, and Mulan. Korra and Mulan essentially feel about the same ability and skill-wise. Korra does some great things on a tech team and is very annoying to take down. One of the elite defense characters to put on a defensive squad, as it's so hard to take her out. And Mulan is definitely suffering a little bit from the old character syndrome. Her kid is just not quite up to scuff with the higher rankings, guys. Yes, she can put silence. She should be good when a princess lineup comes down the line, but right now it just takes too much time to charge her up and get her ready to go. And the last one in the B category we're going to talk about is Lotso. And yes, all these characters have +1. They can go well above B grade. Lotso is a great character. However, Intimidate does affect him a little bit, and it's going to affect his overall viability of being that buff to Zerg. Now, I do think that they only need some new fear mechanics coming into this team to make them a elite team. And keep in mind, guys, with that CC next to Lotso, he is one of the best characters to use within Club Conquest. He can go well above B tier. He can fight Frozen teams as a B tier character in Club Conquest, but in that live PvP, you're just not going to see him a lot. All right, Cozy Club, we are more than halfway of ranking all of the characters within DSA, and let's start with a fun one, and one that I am so glad to see rise the ranks, my friends, and that is Simba. Now, Simba is one of the highest risers that we have from the previous tier list. He got a great touch-up with the new update. +14 speed is going to be phenomenal for his overall kit, as he was a very slow tank before. Now, one thing I want to know is with these new updates and as new gear levels come out, Simba is going to be one of those characters that benefit a ton because of his passive with the defense percentage. Each time these gear levels come up, his defense just keeps on rising, which is going to adjust very nicely with his passive and keep him rising up the ranks. He's my new project, someone I'm going to keep using as a plug-and-play tank. He's got a Club Conquest leadership ability as well, and overall, B+ is a great spot for him. You have seen Syndrome not fall. He, in fact, rose up the ranks a little bit with his new tech synergy, and he has some reliable abilities. And looking at Manicore, she is one of my favorites in this category, my friends. She is going to have a +2 next to her name. Yes, by herself, Manicore is somewhat of a lackluster tank that doesn't have too much synergy other than just being a big body and a big bullet sponge. However, with the new update, guys, her abilities, first of all, got great speed boost overall on her stats, and her ability, Fearless Adventurer, is getting a great touch-up, guys. With this ability, she's receiving a +10% increase anytime an onward character gets hit. So if you got Ian and Barley in the same team and there's an AoE, boom, you've got 40% turn meter over to Manicore. She's going to be going so much, taunting, stunning, continuous damage, removing harmful. She's a great tank and one that is rising up the charts. Altogether, the onward crew, when put as a trio, are a very solid team, and it's nice to see Manicore maintain her spot even with the changes. Our Sergeant Calhoun is rising more and more each and every tier list we make. Keep your eyes on her when T8 comes out. Her supporting fire is going to be doing a 50% bonus critical strike chance when her opponents have defense down, guys. Her abilities are going to be putting defense down on the enemy, so she has a very nice stacking kit. Supporting fire is one of the best parts of her kit, and I'm excited to see how this character evolves, and she fits great with tech, downtown heroes, and kind of works as that off-tank offense unit, kind of like Jasmine. Really like Sergeant Calhoun's role and like what she does early, mid, and late game. Mordu here is a very solid tank, but with the release of mini do tanks, he's not going to be doing as much. However, he is a great offense unit, can slow and stun, and got a little bit of a speed boost, so B+ is going to be where he hibernates. Now, I like Mim and Jack Jack here. Jack Jack is one of those characters that would be a lot higher. He actually doesn't have a plus modifier to him, +1 or +2. He kind of always fits right here at that B+. If he was more consistent, Jack Jack has some of the best abilities and high damage in the game. However, he's just random and he decides whether he wants to be A+ tier or C tier. So that's why B+ is going to be the perfect fit for him. You guys can see that we've got Mim here. She is still a very unique character and no one does quite what Madam Mim does. I like her uniqueness. And lastly, looking at the Kingdom favorites, I know some of you guys are going to be sad to see them in the B+ tier. Guys, when they're used with Kingdom, they are going to go up a tier or two. But Sorcerer Mickey has been outclassed with Honey Lemon and some of the better characters that could just put CC out on the field a bit faster. Aladdin is still great within Kingdom, can do some great damage and turn meter reduction. Guys, the Kingdom, let me just say this, the Kingdom crew is absolutely phenomenal in your free-to-play experience. Grab them. In my belief, I think they're always going to be adding great Kingdom characters, so they're going to be a faction that keeps on rising. However, as overall units, this is where these two guys are going to end up overall. Lastly, we've got the new addition in Fred, who fits great in continuous damage team. It has a +1 when with tech, and obviously BH6, he does a lot better. When he is with Honey Lemon, he does significantly more with his possible kit, and I do enjoy using Fred. However, he's obviously the odd man out, but still a lot more time to test with him. Excited to see where he ends up in the October list. And guys, to end the list, you've got Judy Hopps at the top. Great damage. She can slow the enemy. She can give turn meter to herself and has one of the best plug and play leads within the game. Alrighty, we are on to A tier, guys. We're almost done. These are the best characters. We're getting there. All of these characters at this point will be useful to make into some type of squad. You can form these into your live PvP teams, both early, mid, and late game. And also you can plug them in Club Conquest and reliably rely on these characters to get the job done. We're going to go ahead and start with the bottom, and that is Sally. Sally is consistently slept on as one of the best crowd controllers in the entire game. Because of her crowd control ability, she's not tanking anymore. B+ felt too low for her, but bottom of A is going to be where she belongs. You've got two great plug and play tanks, Jasmine and Chunk. Chunk can extend those harmful effects and is great to use in so many different squads. Great damage and kind of that off tank who isn't going to be the primary tank within your squad, especially mid-game. It's great to have a couple tanks. It's just so much for the enemy to take on. Jasmine is obviously a lot better with Aladdin or the Kingdom faction, but by herself, this is a great spot for her as well. Genie is one of the best plug-and-play characters in the game, my friends. He got a +14 speed boost. Tack that on with the Shan Yu lead, and Genie is ultra fast. He can save people from dying. Shadow him for some great damage. Transfer harmful effects. Silence the enemy. He does a little bit of everything, guys. And Genie is definitely well deserving of this spot, and someone I, in fact, intend to take up to that T7.5, as he can just fit in so many different teams. Ian benefited massively from that new update with great new ability kits, and of course you guys know the synergy with the Onward trio. Let's talk about Dr. F, guys. Dr. Facilier is an absolute beast. Now that he has the Skull card, which is going to be doing some insane damage in live PvP and phenomenal, ridiculous damage within the PvE world, guys. He does a little bit of everything. He does great damage. He's an offense support character that can give two-turn taunts to some of the stackiest, beefiest, slowest tanks in the game. He can polymorph and instantly make a character rendered useless with their defense. He can do high defense reduction. He can heal his team, has a great leadership. There's nothing that Dr. F can't do well, and fits very nicely in some of the higher meta. Not to mention, he also got that +14 speed boost. Guys, Dr. F got the king treatment. when it comes to the King of Towers. I know many of you guys are sad to see my boy Hades go all the way down here. He was once in the S tier and he is slowly falling each and every tier list, guys. His damage is just not up to scuff. His combustion, his attacks altogether are just not doing as much damage. He does find a much better spot within the continuous damage teams, can do more damage against shields, and got some nice ability touch-ups with the new update. His stats are going to remain about the same, and he's just too hard to take up to T7, T7.5 for him to be useful. Now, hopefully, knock on wood, we get a Hercules event sometime in the near future, which I'm sure is going to skyrocket his availability or his viability. But Hades, for now, is going to be reigning at the top of A. Now, Yokai, as you guys know, it is tough to place characters that just came out. I've only used him in one club conquest. I have gotten to test him a ton in live PvP. And Yokai, as I said in my last video, is looking like that elite club conquest tune, and just pretty good outside of that. I have him at the top of A. He can definitely do some great things with the spires and purge taunts and do some great damage. However, we need to see what he looks like at full potential. I'm going to preliminary place him at the top of A, and I think he's going to kind of hang out in this A category no matter what list we're on. Yokai, super BA villain. Excited to see him have somewhat viability altogether. And to finish off the list, Cozy Club, is a shocking image up there, and that is Merlin, guys. The world needs to know more about Merlin. First of all, he got a plus 14 speed increase. For those that watched my best winners from the new update, Merlin was at the top of the list. He can cleanse harmful effects from all teammates up to 2 guys. 2 harmful effects on all teammates. He can give tactics. He can lower cooldowns. He can stun. And then he self-builds himself his damage up. As he increases each turn, he's building that magic up to do more and more damage, guys. Love him here at the top of A. Don't see him going quite past this, but he can do all things well and is the jack of all trades. All right, guys, you've made it this far. We are now to the best characters in the game. I just want to state with the A+ tier, these are some of, if not the best characters within DSA. The S tier is going to be reserved for the absolute best of the best. I want to keep about 7 to 8 characters within that S tier to have them as elite. You could arguably put some of these top A+ characters into the S tier, but again, this is going to be the best characters within DSA. Safely invest into any of these characters, and they're going to help your squad out in one way or another. We're going to start with Big Bad Wolf, guys. Big Bad Wolf is a phenomenal damage dealer who can now purge taunt. Not only does he do huge damage, but he gets rid of that taunt. Going to be even more important with those Baymax auto taunts or the Gizmo constant taunt that you see out there, along with doing great damage to the rest of the squad. With TA, he's going to get even better. Big Bad Wolf is someone to keep your eye on, and I'm actually going to be making some videos about him coming up really soon. Now, next up, we've got Gogo, who fits in so many different squads, and for her speed alone, it makes her an A+ character. Gogo is the only character that when she is with hero, with that hero lead, will go before him, and she can get a little bit of extra damage out or defense down. She can do great damage against summonable units and can remove turn meter. I'm enjoying Gogo in so many different squads. In fact, I've got her in one of my best squads within the game. Moana, as I'm sure you guys know from my Twitch stream, can hit and smack some paddles like crazy. Her basic attack can do up to 10k damage 2 times, guys. Even more than that, Moana is a very hard hitter and definitely a character that is useful across the board, assigning taunts, doing a big wave ability, and giving extra turns to herself. Great character. Barley, you guys know my thoughts about him. He is one of the #1 winners of the new update. Now, the early DSA poster boy, Dash, he has fallen, guys. He has been in that S tier range for a very long time, and it hurts to put him down in A+, but he has just fallen off that S throne, mainly due to the little blue alien, which we'll get to in a second. Bowie is one of the best tanks in DSA, and dare I say, probably one of the most annoying characters to go up against. That invincibility is absolutely elite. He's got a great taunt. He can stun the entire team with tactics. A very fun strategic tank within DSA, and one of my favorite characters personally to use. Now, just above Maui is going to be Gizmo duck, guys. If you don't know, Gizmo is phenomenal. He's giving magic to others all of the time, lowering those cooldowns, has phenomenal health, evades, blinds, and buffs up Scrooge all the way. That +1 next to Scrooge is because of Gizmo. Whenever Gizmo uses his taunt, he buffs up all of Scrooge, and guys, together, this duo is a very strong team. If you just went after them two, they can serve you very well late into DSA. Wasabi, you guys have been seeing me use him on the stream, can do ridiculous damage and just feeds himself very nicely, does extra damage against shields, which we're going to be seeing in the meta more and more. And for our last two, we've got Papa Gantu, who's now lightning fast Gantu. He shaved off some pounds, guys. He does elite damage and is one of those characters that are starting to make up the meta. People like Elsa, Stitch, and Gantu are characters that build themselves up over the course of the battle. And why that's so important is these characters, essentially, you can't ignore. And if you have too many in one battle, it's going to overwhelm the enemy, and they're not going to know who to go for. If they choose Elsa, Gantu's going to be charged up. If they choose Gantu, Stitch will, and so on. And that's why Gantu is absolutely elite. He is right at the cusp of S tier. Long live Shan Yu in the S tier. He has fallen from the once best character in the game to the top of A+, guys. Shan Yu is a phenomenal character. As you guys know, his leadership ability is giving speed. He's got great damage, and the things he does very well. His leadership ability also got touched up with the newest update. However, he just falls a little bit short of the elite as far as what the rest of those S tier characters can do. Most long-lasting character in the S tier has now fallen. The game is changing. Let's get to the legendary status, the top S tier characters in DSA. All right, Cozy Club, so here it is, the best 8 characters within Disney Sorcerer's Arena. Every single one of these characters are going to provide use on any team you use them in. All of their abilities, their stats, everything they do are very, very helpful. Now, this order can be changed up a little bit, but the best 2 characters, in my opinion, in the game at this moment is going to be Elsa and Baymax. Elsa is just a damage dealer like no other. If you ignore her, you're simply going to lose the match. Now, as an offense side, Elsa is in a league of her own, and over here, you've got Baymax on the defensive side. His auto taunt alone would probably put him in the A+ tier outside of all of his other abilities. However, mass impact, you are my patient, and the other abilities are all phenomenal. Guys, Baymax is legit. Hiro Hamada did recently just see a nerf. However, he is still among one of the best characters in the game simply for just 2 reasons, guys. Yes, his evasion is great and it's hard to get around, but his upgrade ability is how every meta team currently is ran through. No matter what, this character making any other character's turn manipulation changed is what makes him so great. Now, as far as the best supports in the game, one could argue either Bubbles or Honey Lemon. Yes, Honey Lemon is an offense character. However, she works more as a support with her stuns, intimidates, and slows. And guys, Honey Lemon's passive is what makes her absolutely crazy, cleansing and giving magic to her fellow allies. Cobra is one of those characters, no matter what squad he is in, he's going to be useful. Tactics is the best buff within Disney Sorcerer's Arena. It'll make any ability's probability to do a certain effect 100%. If you ignore Bubbles, he's going to gain turn meter and silence you. His whole kit speaks to each other. One of my favorite characters within the game and one of the safest investments in DSA. Now, Emperor Zurg was one of the biggest winners of the new update and frankly is the strongest, highest hitting glass cannon within DSA. All it takes is 2 turns for Zurg to absolutely delete 2 of your characters. Now, the last 2 characters on the board is Stitch and Anna. Anna is just making the cut. Great support that can fit with any team, but Stitch, guys, we've got Stitch all the way maxed out. You've seen it on the stream multiple times, and you know I'm running him in my favorite meta team right now. All of his abilities are useful. One of, if not the most strategic character within DSA. He can counter the meta, which is going to bring him up here as well. Guys, he's fast, strong damage. There's no reason that Stitch does not rightfully belong in S tier. And that's going to be all the characters, guys, from Baloo to the best characters within DSA. Thank you so much for sticking with me through the entire tier list. And now you know all of the best characters within Disney Sorcerer's Arena, guys. I enjoy testing all these out and making sure I get the right information for you guys to invest your resources properly. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button. Join the Cozy Club. We're always accepting new members. Hit that subscribe button. We just got 7K subscribers. We're on the journey now, guys, to 10,000. Cozy Club, I will see you on some later videos, and I will see you on the Twitch stream and Twitter. And until next time, my friends, stay cozy.